Hi, I'm Anne-Marie Segal. I'm making this video in honor of the second edition of Master the Interview, coming out on April 10th. I'd like to talk about fit, the question of fit between you and a potential employer. I talk about fit quite a lot in the book. The reason fit matters is because it's not just about your substantive competencies. It's about how you'll be able to interact with others in the organization, if you'll get along, if you'll be happy. Now, I don't mean to sound like I believe that employers, all of them, really want you to be truly happy in your jobs. For example, I was talking to someone yesterday who said, I really think it's their business model just to keep people on for 3 or 4 years. They don't mind if there's turnover because really they want to push you as hard as they can to get as much work out of you as possible. Okay, even in that environment, you will need to determine if you're a fit. Hopefully you can ferret out that red flag, which is there is high turnover. Hopefully you can figure out whether that matches you or not. Usually you'd think it wouldn't, right? But maybe it does. Maybe you're looking for a job that will really maximize the return on your investment in those 3 or 4 years, meaning you will get so many new skills that you wouldn't have gotten if you didn't take the job. And you're willing to take the risk about either the turnover, meaning that they would get rid of you, they would fire you. Although that's not what this client was talking about. It was more that, they have such a high bar of expectations that everyone gets burned out and ends up leaving after 3 or 4 years, sometimes 5. Even that is a question of fit. And they will want, even in that situation, to figure out if you are a fit, if you are going to be high achieving enough to be consistently trying to meet that bar. But every environment, it's a question, in every environment, it's a question of fit. Sometimes this question sounds like it's trying to ferret out or be a proxy for bias. And I will say that sometimes it is. Sometimes the idea of fit is, do you think like us? Do you look like us? Do you talk like us? But not always. There's that as well that you need to be thinking about. If there is bias in this organization, will it be to the extent that it makes me uncomfortable to be there? Or is it something that I might be able to positively change, whether it's in my group or across the organization? Is it somewhere that I can nonetheless envision as a place where I can grow? Other ideas of fit include, for example, do you want to have somebody always looking over your work, every kind of micromanaging your work, or do you want a lot of discretion? Do a lot of people work from home? Is remote working encouraged, or do you need to be in the office 5 days a week? What's the travel schedule like, if any? What are the expectations there? There are so many different aspects of fit. At the end of the day, also, there's this idea of your gut. When you're thinking about fit from your perspective, will I fit with this organization? Is it a fit for me and my values? Every red flag that comes up, take note of it. You can use my post-interview debrief form if you'd like. If you get a copy of the new edition, it will be on page 252 and following. But you can also, I'll put a link below. You can also go directly to the worksheets. I have an extra copy of worksheets available on my website, even if you don't have a copy of the book. Take note of all those red flags and then kind of tummy test each one of those, meaning you're thinking with your head, but you're also thinking with your gut, that intuition. Is this going to be a good place for me? Is this somewhere I can see growing in the next few years of my career or longer? You're not always going to know That's why these red flags that come up are important to track down, because sometimes there's just something behind what you see there that leads you to say, I think there's more to this. And sometimes it's important to follow them up in order to make sure that there isn't something deeper there that you could have uncovered. Another client of mine, for example, said, wow, I was presented this facade, and the very next day that I got there, I realized it was a completely different organization than they had presented. Could there have been any red flags? And I'm not suggesting that you, if in fact that happens to you, that you blame yourself. But what I am saying is that sometimes there are things that you can notice, and I wouldn't disregard that. I would always be having your antenna out, as I call them, having your antenna out for what is it about the organization that they're telling me, and what else am I seeing, so I can gauge fit as well. So more about fit in the book, but I hope this has been helpful, and I really am cheering you on in your interviews.